Hi, everyone. My name is Kate, and I am 21 years old. 6 months ago, my parents started financially supporting me, my boyfriend, and our girlfriend. But this is only a small part of a big story that started much earlier. So when I was around 19, I liked a guy named Simon. He was a year older, but we went to the same college. To be honest, this is not the kind of story in which I was afraid to take the first step for a long time. But then some miracle brought us together. No, it was much more simple. I liked him. I found out that he did not have a girlfriend and went up to him in the college cafeteria. We started talking quite a bit, and after a few weeks, we officially became a couple. Do not be intimidated by such a quick retelling. It got romantic once we already started dating. Simon turned out to be the best version of the best character from the best romantic novel. He got me flowers on regular days just because he wanted to make me happy. Or he would also suddenly stop and read me some romantic poems while we were walking. And this is the 21st century. I didn't expect Simon to cherish me that much. It's just that, at first, I didn't count on something dead serious. I wanted a relationship, a simple relationship. But it turned out to be true love. After a year together, I literally forgot how to live without him. Every time we couldn't hang out together, there was a feeling of emptiness inside me. God bless the internet, because it saved us in these situations. If we weren't together live, we were together online. We almost did not argue for the whole year, but it's not that simple. At some point, I introduced Simon to one of my girlfriends. Her name was Jennifer. She was fun. Simon immediately found common ground with her, so we started hanging out together sometimes. It was just fun versions of our usual meetings with Simon, but later he started suggesting that we ask Jenny to hang out. Obviously, I was a little jealous. Like, isn't there too much of Jenny lately? One day, on my way home after classes, I went to Jennifer's house to pick up the makeup she borrowed from me. But instead of getting my makeup, I saw Jennifer kissing Simon through the first floor window. It was like I was stabbed in the heart. I stood there, watching them kiss, and I couldn't figure out what to do. It was awful. After a while, I did knock on the door, went in, and started listening to these hypocrites justify themselves. At first, they only said something pathetic like, "This is not what you're thinking." But when they realized there was no point in denying it, to put it shortly, Simon shocked everyone. It turned out that Simon had been equally in love with both of us for a long time, and attention, he suggested that we all date each other at the same time. What an arrogant prick. This suggestion made me run home in tears. Oof. A week passed. He tried to talk to me the whole time, but I ignored him. I would like to continue with my story, but unfortunately, there was another important detail. No matter what, my stupid heart didn't want to leave Simon. I've almost lost a taste for life without him. Without communicating with him for a week, everything became dull. In general, oddly enough, I still gave up after a week and a half. Yes, I'm a weak girl. Jennifer didn't really want to share Simon with me, but it was more up to him. And he was thrilled that he wouldn't have to choose between us. Long story short, I agreed to polyamory, only because I thought that Simon would understand that Jennifer was just a passing phase, and that I was his true love after a little while. The three of us started dating, but it was very difficult to get used to. Jennifer and I were like two rabid dogs who were constantly fighting for Simon's attention. You can't even imagine how hard it was to watch them kiss. Well, Simon himself pretended not to notice any issues. We'd been dating like that for about 3 months when my parents intervened. They didn't know about our experimenting, but they decided that since Simon and I had been dating for almost a year and a half, it was time for us to make it official. Shortly put, they weren't poor, and they promised that if Simon married me, they would buy us a 1-bedroom apartment, and they would also help us with money while we were still in college. I love my parents. It was a perfect opportunity to get rid of the third wheel in our relationship. Simon was happy to hear about the apartment, but he agreed to the wedding only on one condition: that Jennifer would live with us. I totally expected that, so it didn't hurt, as I thought if we became husband and wife, Jennifer would eventually understand everything. At first, she was predictably against our wedding, but because of the apartment, which was obviously a benefit for everyone, she agreed. From that moment on, my life was like paradise. Preparing for the wedding was incredibly enjoyable. Choosing the dress, the restaurant, making invitation cards, plus Jennifer's unhappy face, was particularly nice to watch. I would have loved the wedding to go on without her, but I had to make her a bridesmaid. We did not postpone it and celebrated the best day of my life only after 1 month of preparation. And, well, we slept in the brand new apartment on our wedding night, all 3 of us. Unfortunately, I didn't think that living with Jennifer would be so unbearable during the preparation for the wedding. If I tried to throw her out of our relationship with the help of my parents' money, she would turn on this vixen mode. Every time she kissed Simon in front of me, she did it as passionately as possible, knowing that it infuriated me. Often she would leave dirty dishes in the sink, throw things around, and set everything up so that Simon would think it was me. She would manipulate our conversations to an argument every single time and force Simon to stand up for her. But I didn't put up with it for a long time. The 3 of us were living on my parents' money. So when she finally got on my nerves, I stopped giving her money at all, even though Simon was against it. Want to know what she did to get revenge? She told my parents about our triple relationship, but lied that Simon was originally my project to get an apartment. That was a low blow. Not only Jennifer, but Simon and I were left without my parents' financial help. What was much worse, though, was that I had lost their trust, and they didn't want to listen to my excuses. No apologies worked anymore. At that moment, I finally decided to kick Jennifer out of my apartment, but altruistic Simon shocked me again. He said that the apartment was our joint property, like it was not my parents who paid for it, but us with their money after the wedding. Can you imagine? You do everything for a person, and he makes a decision about the apartment that was given by your parents in favor of a girl who should not be in our relationship at all. At that moment, I realized how wrong I was to give up and agree to this freakish relationship in general. It's easy to guess that after that situation, it was like a war zone in our apartment. My beloved Simon was now an even bigger enemy for me than Jennifer. Battles took place every day for any reason, and unfortunately, I was the minority. Of course, I could try to make up with my parents once again and go live with them, but that would mean that I gave my apartment to 2 freaks. At first, I tried to protect myself from their attacks, but it was difficult, so I started avoiding them. Over time, in my own apartment. Because my parents blocked my access to any money, I had to combine work with college. It was incredibly infuriating that I worked all day, bought everything, and my lovers were sitting at home and just spending it all. Thank God Simon wasn't completely rotten, and he ended up finding a job, too. The war subsided a little, and we adopted a few ground rules for living together. Something like taking turns paying bills, buying food separately, etc. 1 month passed, and I found a huge reason to be happy. Jennifer never found a job. She probably didn't want to. The only place she went to was classes. And then she would live off Simon, living in our apartment. How do you like the transformation from a good friend to a kept woman? Fortunately, at that time, I was not the only one who realized that Jennifer was an abuser. She and Simon began to fight frequently. I was high on gloating, and it was the perfect moment to break up their stupid alliance. I thought that if they broke up, Jennifer would definitely fly out of my apartment. I had no feelings for Simon at that point. It was strange how much I loved him and how much lower he fell in my eyes. But he did not know about that yet. Long story short, to break up their relationship, I started showing him signs of attention and telling him how much I regretted that we had such a stupid fight. And then, in the middle of his argument with Jennifer, he started to show the same toward me. We didn't even hide. Polyamory rules. Jennifer was burning from rage, but what could she do? Now it was me passionately making out with Simon in front of her and enjoying watching her triggered face. Do not say that I am evil. I just treated her the same way she treated me. I was trying to get into fights on purpose, and I made Simon stand up for me. I didn't think she would tolerate this attitude for long, but I convinced Simon that we didn't need Jennifer anymore, and he kicked her out of my house after just a week. Justice had been served, but not completely. I didn't need Simon anymore either, so a couple of days after Jennifer left, I put on quite a show for him, and I invited my friend Charlie to play my boyfriend. One day, Charlie came to my house, and I told Simon that we were going to continue our polyamorous relationship, but on my terms. You should have seen his face. I, for the sake of our love, put up with his Jenny, and he could not even stay under the same roof with some actor for one day. Conclusion? He didn't love me the way I used to love him. And even though I knew it for a long time, I just got more proof. As a result, we got divorced. Polyamory sucks. Goodbye.